couldn't even wait for daylight to record this. I just got to come on real quick. When I tell you all that are attempting to have a home birth or even natural unmedicated birth, please don't let Instagram and TikTok be the foundation upon which you learn about birth. Those are excellent resources to just introduce you to different concepts and terminologies, ideas even. Great resources for that. However, you have to keep in mind that those platforms are very time-lapsed. Or it's the last moments of birth. And you notice in those last moments, you're going to have everybody there crying. Mama, daddy, grandma, auntie, cousins, everybody that's around to support that birth. Even sometimes the doulas will be crying as well. And that's because a lot of times it's not just because the baby's here, which is worthy of reward and celebration, but it's because of how much work and energy they had to put in order to achieve getting that baby out of the mom's body and into her arms. It takes a lot of work. And for many of us, especially nowadays, because we live a sedentary lifestyle, I feel like we may even have to work twice as hard as our ancestors did. Not many of us are out here gardening and walking and squatting and washing clothes by hand and hanging them up on the line and mopping the floors with scrub brushes and getting down on the ground. Many of us are not even so connected to that kind of reality. I know many of the families that I work with, they have people come in and clean their homes for them. I think that's beautiful. I would love somebody to come clean my home for me. You know, I got folks that outsource laundry. They don't even wash the clothes and do their stuff in their own house anymore nowadays. I have had families that don't cook, that exclusively do DoorDash and Uber Eats and eating out and things like that. They may even have a catering service. They may even have a private chef that they hire to come in. I've had an array of different clientele, and I'm so grateful for all of the families that have been able to invest in this experience. At the same time, they also understood, well, some of them did, the necessity for continuing to do the physical labor that leads up to your birthday, to the Labor Day. You have to put the work in, y'all. It's very discouraging. It's very discouraging when I'm telling you, every time I see you, I'm telling you, Mama, are you walking? Are you stretching? Are you getting on the floor? Are you exercising? Are you sitting on your ball? Like a broken record. I say these things over and over again. It's an affirmation for me to the point where that's how I stay physically fit. Because I ensure that I do these things. I sit on the labor ball. I sit on the floor. I stretch regularly. I do my walking and my exercising regularly because I have to be a model of what I'm preaching to the families that I work with. So yes, it's very, very discouraging when we get to Labor Day and I'm working with somebody that has not done any of the things. And a lot of times I'm telling them to go and see a chiropractor, especially if you were an athlete or a dancer during your formative years. I can't stress that enough. I tell my families, a lot of times I ask them, were you an athlete during your formative years? Dancers, cheerleaders, even track runners. I get quite a bit of track runners. Because what happens when you are an athlete during your formative years, it forms a very tight band of muscles and tissues around your hip bones. And it makes it very unforgiving for birth. And in my experience, what I see very consistently is that my athletes and dancers, people that fit that mold, tend to dilate relatively quickly. But the head coming down, y'all, sometimes it don't. Sometimes those muscles and things are just so tight, the pelvis will not open, that tailbone will not lift up, and that head is just stuck up high. And for those that have the stamina to withstand days, in some cases, of laboring that way, they successfully have a vaginal birth at home. Some don't. Some have to go in for an epidural because it can be very taxing and lengthy labor. There again, if you're doing the work on the in the pregnancy, it can be avoidable. And this is very much associated with first-time pregnancies. If you've already had a vaginal delivery, you got what we call a proven pelvis. The baby has come through there. There is muscle memory. You got a lot working for you to allow you to have repeat vaginal deliveries, which I have had. I've had families or moms that were track runners or whatnot. They had a very challenging birth with the first, and then the second baby comes right on out. So, living testimonials. But if this is your first, and you know you were an athlete in your formative years or a dancer, as I mentioned before, you want to be very intentional about stretching. Exercise, as far as walking and keeping up your cardio, that helps as well. But your focus is to stretch. You have to stretch, and even see a chiropractor. I tell them all the time to go see I try to encourage them to go see a chiropractor because it will also help to, just move the hips and get things that a lot of times when you're an athlete, you fall a lot, you get hurt, you get injured. There's muscle memory behind that. There's sometimes some bruising and scar tissue left behind from all of your athletic activities that does not necessarily get attention, but can be apprehensive to birth, y'all. Oh my goodness. I just had to get that off my chest. I hope what I said resonates with someone. As I mentioned before, and I will keep singing it from the mountaintops. You cannot buy a home birth. You can invest in the experience, right? But you can't just pay somebody some money and think that you're going to just have your baby at home without doing the work in order to get you to that point. Right? You can't. People pay their medical insurance every day, every month, every time they go to work, however it comes out of their check, they're paying for their medical insurance. That does not guarantee them a vaginal delivery in the hospital. So please don't think that just because you pay for your midwife or your doula, that it's going to guarantee you a vaginal unmedicated birth. It's not. It's not. And sadly, in some cases, even if you do the work ahead of time, sometimes you just gotta go another route or have a medicalized birth. It happens. But those should be few and further between than what they are. And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Again, prayfully I said something that resonates with you, something that you can learn from, grow from, and create an even better experience for yourself. That's all I got, y'all. Mama Sekesa. Peace, love, and light.